All right, everybody, we are here at the 50th annual Lewis County Fair, right down here in the commercial building. And joining me is co-host Wes Sharp and Nathanael Schultz. He is running for Missouri District 6. You're getting ready to, you're trying to go to Washington, D.C., and that's a pretty big machine.
The sponsor of this podcast is United State Bank. In small towns, trust still matters. Since 1922, United State Bank has been serving Northeast Missouri with the kind of personal service you can only get from people who know the community. Whether you're opening a checking account, saving for the future, buying a home, financing a vehicle, running a business, or working in agriculture, United State Bank is here to help. With local branches, online banking, digital services, and hometown customer care, banking is simple, secure, and close to home. Visit United State Bank today at usb1.com. United State Bank, personal service since 1922. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
That's what I hear. Yeah. Yeah. I think we'd like to bring some of that power back home.
Yes, definitely. So, Nathaniel, why don't you just start out, just tell us a little bit about who you are, where you came from, and we'll go from there. We'll get in the weeds after that.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, my name is Nathanael Schultz, and I like to tell people about peanuts. So I know all of our family changed their names way back when, but that's the cousin of my great grandpa. One of the funny things about it, we've got all their questions, and we've got to know that my grandpa wrote him about a joke he thought was off color. And but yeah, so you can remember my name that way, Nathanael Schultz. I'm from Northeast Missouri. I'm the only candidate from this side, and for the first time in 26 years, we have an option to elect representation from Northeast Missouri. And I'm running for, the United States House of Representatives, which is a seat in Congress. And the idea is it's your neck to ring for Washington, for all these bureaucrats. The House of Representatives have power over them. They can withhold the purse. So they have the power of the purse, which is how all these things run. And all that funnels to the NGOs. So you've got somebody that should be answering to you for those expenditures, for regulating those agencies. And so, I'm that candidate for you. I've put my phone number on everything I have. All the way here, I was answering calls, calling people back. That's how I run my business. And so that's how I'll work for you as well.
Gotcha. So you have some roots kind of tied to Hannibal. You want to speak on that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. My grandparents lived there behind Walmart. Before that, I think is it Stardust that goes through whenever you had to cross that dam to get there.
Right.
My parents got married in Hannibal. My first property was in Hannibal. I was operating a horse and carriage downtown there after the Clopper retired. And I bought that hill from the top of that street down to that road, and there's a whole cave and everything in there. And so I had a water source for my horse because it dripped in. And anyways, so I did a lot of that. And I told you too, I swam the river there. I'm kind of a Huckleberry Finn fan.
Talk about that.
And a hot, slow July day. What are you gonna do? So actually the first time that I went across, I got out into that channel because on the Missouri side, I went close to the bridge because it's pretty narrow there.
Right.
And even though the current's stronger, I figured I could swim to that boat ramp on the side, which is what I did. And I got out in that channel, and here come a barge. I probably could have made it, but it freaked me out. Back and try it again. But I was a Boy Scout and Eagle Scout, and did all the swimming stuff in there, and so felt pretty good about it.
Yeah.
Of course, was wanted the challenge.
Good deal.
And then, I know your last name is Sharp.
Yeah.
Right. So I used to during that period of time, I started a lot of horses. I shoot horses all over it. I would come up to the Heartland Dairy.
Oh yeah.
With a main farrier that shoed there. He met me downtown Hannibal, actually.
What was his name?
For all of me, I cannot remember.
I was trying. I didn't know.
He lived up by Carthage, Illinois.
Yeah. Yep.
Trained horse.
I used to. So I carried mail out there.
Okay.
And when Charlie was still around and his daughter Linda, they kind of ran the operations out there. They'd always at lunchtime, everybody went in there and they ate. And so I'd stop in and eat with him every day, so I got to know that guy.
Okay. Yeah. I'd go in there with him. There's like the little dining hall where they get everybody in there.
Yeah. All the men, all the guys that were in the program or whatever come in, and it was a good deal.
Yes.
It helped a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm a pilot. So one time I got to see the jet go out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
before we jump into, I think Wes wants to talk to data centers about you. Before we do, you've been traveling all over North Missouri. What are the concerns that from the people that you're talking to? What are their concerns?
I would think the biggest one is transparency and where the money's going. I feel like a lot of the basic infrastructure for the rural economy is being sucked away. And as a younger guy, I'm 35. I'll be 36 before the election, but hanging on to that as hard as I can.
Hang on to it as long as you can.
Yeah. I'm looking towards my future, right?
Right.
I've got 4 young children, and it's like, what kind of life will my children have here? And rather than complain about it, I was raised to do something about the issues you have, not complain about them. And I see, like, for example, we can talk about tariffs or a bunch of other things affecting our economy, but not being put back into it. Then we talk about taxation. There's taxes meant for owner operators of land and farms, and we have out of state, even foreign corporations coming in deferring taxes. And it's a complete lie. And I talked about it on that other podcast. It's a complete lie to act like these corporations don't pay taxes. They pay the majority of the FICA taxes, right? Even with people getting the refunds, but they defer their property or their profit taxes into buying land, which is okay, except that, if we're trying to farm, we want a future in it. We're not bidding against people whose concept is, how do I make this economically feasible? They're saying, if I'm deferring taxes, I don't care if I overpay for the land, right?
Right.
And so we've got to cut back on that, just like we've got to cut back on the housing, where it was the same deal with corporations. There's a really nice ability to defer or maybe permanently eliminate your profit taxes. And all that's great, but that's what's hurting us. So we have to pull that back on these corporations, make owner operators and at least resident operators of the state.
Yeah.
Because that's our farm ground, right? And it's pushing us out. And the whole economy that operates around there, once it goes to scale, usually pushes all that money further out as well.
Let me ask you one more question before Wes takes over. What was the driving factor behind why you wanted to run for Congress?
Yes, good question. It really does start with my 4 kids. My oldest just turned 7, and looking at their future, seeing all of the woke stuff pushed out of Washington, especially during COVID, I realized how fragile our freedoms really are and what an authoritative state that we're up against. And so, that really pushed me to get into this. As the only outsider in the race, I'm not supported by Washington. I'm not supported by PACs. So it's bringing that authority back home to people or someone who will answer for Missouri. And when Charlie Kirk got shot, I knew I had to do something other than sit back and make excuses about my comfortable life.
Yeah. So that was when that happened, that had a huge impact on you, I presume.
Absolutely. That pushed me into, hey, whatever I'm doing, I've got to make time for my country and the future of it.
Yeah. And that event should have an impact no matter what political party you're affiliated with. But, okay, well, I'm going to turn it over to Wes. I think you guys want to talk data centers a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm kind of green on these data centers, and I don't know how much you know, but I'm the mayor here at Lewistown, and I've already got people asking me about them, and it's like, do we need to start legislation now on these for even the small towns, the counties?
Right.
What's that entail? What's the wording? What are you hearing or seeing on these?
Well, a few of my competitors, not to make this about me, but my opponents, feel like the federal government should keep their hands out of it. And generally speaking, whenever it comes to regulation, that's how I feel. The problem is whenever I looked into it, it's actually being funded by the federal government.
You're right.
Right? So the House of Representatives holds funding. It's the purse. So we've got these programs paying for this, and they don't have the stipulation on it that we should have. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't build, develop, and be prepared for the future, but to do it in a manner that, and there's a bunch of side effects or trickle effects of it. So whenever you go in and you say, okay, we're going to use eminent domain for power systems, which we have to have. We need transmission lines. We need energy, right? But we're subsidizing monopolies like Ameren to build the grid. We need it. But we actually do have a lever on them then to say, we can't subsidize you, and you also increase the rates of residents to pay for build and progress.
Right. Yeah.
So there's a lot of things like that. And then I think the EPA goes way overboard, and there's a whole climate cult and hoax around a lot of what's going on. But as a Christian, I believe it's our responsibility. Like God's mandate to Adam in the beginning was, "Here's the garden I created. You take care of it." So I'm very much about taking care of this earth and the land. But their agenda is, and I didn't used to believe this. I didn't believe that they actually wanted to destroy our country and bring us back, right? And I'm talking about the left agenda that's so pervasive. They've aligned with Islam. They've aligned with trans. These things don't come together by accident, right? It's a spiritual thing. So, and I'm trying to get back to the deal, but I went to Africa and realized, I went to Tanzania and realized they're post civilization, or that's not the word for it, colony. They're post colonized. And what they did when they decolonized, with a lot of this left agenda pushing it, they tore down all the buildings. We go through and they're building huts and there's rubble everywhere. I'm like, what happened to the buildings? Whenever we decolonized, we tore them down. That's literally where they want us to be at. And that's why they're pushing you're on stolen land. You don't have a right to, like, I feel like it all merges together.
I can see it. Yeah.
So absolutely build, but yes, we need to make sure that we're doing this in a way that doesn't hurt the citizens or our future, right? So there's also, I feel like, a whole lot of fraud and waste. And if you don't call it fraud, it's definitely waste, because just like with the PPL loans, you've got banks incentivized to push this out because they've got the federal money. They can earn interest on it as long as they give the loan out. So if the government's willing to give a loan out for this much, they're not gonna pull back on that, even though information's telling us that what they're using in the data centers is already outdated. And then there's the whole surveillance state. I don't know if y'all.
We're getting a lot more on that, especially in the towns. I know some local town, like here, we haven't got them. I'm gonna keep them out of Lewistown, but I know that LaGrange are talking about it. Palmyra's got them.
What are those called, Wes?
Flock cameras.
Flock cameras.
Did you just see what happened in UK? As of July 7th, they require any car sold to have live AI in-car monitoring for the eyes of the driver. And if the driver's looking down or distracted, it's recording all that live time and keeping it. So whenever I see these data centers and this like this, I'm like, that's where we're headed.
Yeah.
And that's why we would need the data to process and keep all this live stuff. That's the only thing that makes sense.
And then it's storing and it's learning it nonstop, you know? One of a lot of the big questions we get on the data centers for locals is the water. The water it uses, the power it uses. You kind of explained that a little bit.
And I'm not an expert on that. Like I'm sure I've just scratched the surface.
I don't think anybody's an expert on it.
Nobody really.
We don't know. You know.
Yeah.
But people are starting to dig into it. And I mean, I'm like you. I'm not against it, but they're going to have to purchase their own power. They're going to have to figure out
their water
build the grids.
situation.
They're going to have to figure out the water situation, you know.
And maybe this will help us move. I mean, I'm in favor of like nuclear power. Maybe this will help us push there more. But yeah, taxing a grid that's already taxed for most of the area.
Right.
To me, there's a lot of missing pieces there, which when the taxpayers are taking, the bill for it, then that starts to worry me, because I thought at first, and I just did a debate with the Democrat opponents, that are running for this. And they're like, all these tech giants with government, and that's what's pushing this. And it's kind of like my stance with Israel. Actually, I think the government's partnering with them to do all this, and we need it. I really do think the weapon systems and everything that's there, the heat seeking and all that's going away to AI recognition and all this. So I do see that part of it. And so we've got to have that part of it. But I think in the end, they're just doing whatever they can to build the builders. It might not even be the data people. It might be the builders saying, hey, we can get a contract to build this.
Yes.
Why would we downsize it just because,
Yeah.
So, but absolutely with the water tables. And I think there's a lot like the systems that are using for cooling and different things, and using water as opposed to a lot of other, like even in our cars, we don't use water because it's not very efficient. We use antifreeze, but it's very viscous.
And I know some guys that mine digital coins, digital currency, and they're using a different cooling system than water. It's some type of gel, and it's running through all these lines, keeping the machines cool. They say it costs more to do it that way, but it's, you know,
massively more
yeah,
efficient.
it is.
Yeah.
But when you use the water, they say the water evaporates. How much water we got? You know,
Right.
these are just questions. You
Yes.
know, so yeah, we're gonna dig into it a little more. But
And if taxpayers are funding it, I think we have the right to know about it. That's
right,
kind of the big thing. It's like, okay, so since I now know that the federal government is actually directly financing a lot of these,
hmm
why is it all done in secrecy?
right,
It
Right.
should be just about like anything else in the grid. Ameren has to, I got a letter saying, hey, we're building a transmission line. Well, that's it. It seems like that's what we would do.
hmm
Yeah. And it really just seems like that the devil is in the details. We don't know, you know, and we don't want to be voting for things we don't know what we're voting for.
right.
You know? So, anything else on that, Wes?
No, I mean, I'm gonna keep doing the research, and I'm
Yeah.
asking everybody about it. You know, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
be ready for it when it hits our small town, I should say.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
but
I know this doesn't really have a lot to do with you going to U.S. Congress, but what is your take on, since you're a Missouri citizen, what's your
Yes.
take on Missouri Amendment 5?
Or-
Because you'll be going to the polls and
Yes.
voting yes or no on
Yes.
that.
So honestly, I'm still undecided. I went and sat down at a town hall, and it really convinced me to be a yes. I haven't done all the follow through I need to do to make
Yeah.
sure they were telling me the truth.
Right.
But in general, we should tax the consumer, not the producer, right?
Yeah.
And so
I do agree with that.
a huge question I had is our seniors, our veterans, and these people, right, who aren't working, they're going to pay the difference because they're not paying it right now. And they broke it down for me, and it made a lot of sense. Whenever you have income tax, it's just like compounding interest. At every step in the product's life, you're paying income tax on it, and then the employer's paying FICA on it, right?
Mhm.
So those start compounding as you work its way up to where the average product in our supermarkets, we're paying 50% of it is compounded tax. So if we were able to pay a little bit more in sales tax and reduce it by that much, it makes total sense. Now, you know, I'm a capitalist. I'm not going to immediately drop my money just because I'm making a higher profit. But what it does is, and that's how I got started. I found an area where there's a lot of juice to squeeze.
Right.
And so
Mhm.
immediately you have competition. Immediately you have to bring it back down, and it will find its equilibrium.
Yeah.
So I love the idea. I still don't fully understand why we need legislation to pass it into the Constitution. And I'm nervous about that whenever we're about to decide if we can do a referendum again.
Right.
So I still have questions on
Yeah.
it. I would love the idea in general.
Yeah.
it just seems there's not a direct plan while implementing it.
Yeah, like
I
that,
think that's the biggest problem.
Like
You
that.
know,
Yeah.
yeah,
the devil's
it's just
in the
getting
detail.
road.
That
You know?
transition
Yeah.
period. That transition period.
It's going to be rough.
There's
and I
got to be
don't-
some rough stuff there.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I know we have a politician right over here.
yeah. Mr. Greg Sharp, he's coming on here in just a little bit.
But I just in general would rather not trust government. If they had a plan, sell me the plan.
I agree.
Whenever I talked with these people, it seemed like they had more of a plan than I thought they did.
Mhm.
And they had eliminated the need to repeal the Hancock Amendment because it was preventing them from increasing taxes because they would have to decrease it. But you don't know that till a year later. So there's going to be some rough spots in there.
Yeah.
But
We pretty much agree on about everything. And I already said here at Lewis County Scoop, we're not going to get too biased, but I really enjoy talking to you. I've talked to you in the past.
yes.
I don't know if we'll agree or not agree on this
Okay,
next question. APAC.
Yeah.
The American Israel Public Affairs
Yep.
Committee. If you'd have asked me 3 years ago,
Yes.
I'd be 100% behind
Yes, sir.
the state of Israel, APAC. My mind has been changed. I when you get in and start studying and educating yourself, which is what we all should do.
Yeah.
You can find that you change your mind about things. What is your stance on APAC? Because you're going to Washington, D.C., and you are going to be approached.
Yeah.
That's the money machine in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know,
So as of right now, I have accepted $1 from any PAC, period. So I just want to put that out there, right? I support Israel. Okay. I mean, they're one of the most pro homosexual countries out there.
mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things about their society that I really do not like at all. But in general, I'm 100% behind their attack on Gaza. Whenever we got attacked, for example,
No, you're fine.
the Twin Towers, if 70,000 people had died, that would be proportional to what happened to Israel on that attack, right?
Right.
So them going in and killing, war is really, really rough and really, really bad, and it's
Yes.
part of fallen human nature. But they, you know, to get more to your answer though, I do support our allegiance with Israel. And I'm new to this. I'm not an insider in this. So from what I can see, it's the American Israeli. So I used to be a big Tucker fan.
Yeah.
And I feel like he went way off on the deep end. And then you have people like Matt Gaetz, who were supported by AIPAC and then turned on AIPAC because while they were in Israel, the room went through. And it's like, do you not have any street sense at all? Do you think they're not going to go through your room when you're gone? So I haven't found good answers, and they say they control it. And it's like, well, actually, I think we control Israel. I see it the other way around. We're giving them weapons and saying, let's fund a weapon system. Let's learn from it so that we have the best weapons. Hey, here's a country called Israel that will use all the weapons we give them.
Yeah.
So I think if anything, and I think I disagree with a lot of their exploits, just like their Mossad, the CIA says, hey, we're goody two shoes. We won't torture somebody. Hey, Mossad, torture this guy for us.
Right.
I feel like that's what's going on. So I don't point the finger at them. I say, hey, we've got we're not being honest about the relationships and about what's going on and trying to save the image.
That's a lot of it, I think.
But so I can argue the other side of it, but in general, I fully support Israel's right to exist. The other side of this whole deal is saying from the river to the sea. You want to talk about genocide? So hey, whenever you're the government you support and leadership has a cost to it.
Yes.
So we're talking about Congress like this, your leadership and the leadership you choose has a cost.
Yep.
My decisions could get your children killed in war.
Yep.
Right. And it could get your family killed in war. And
I am glad you own. I'm glad you own up to that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I probably would disagree on, and I believe Israel, the state of Israel, has a right to exist. I just believe personally they've over the last several years become very rogue, and I believe their influence in American politics is very high because they put a lot of money into candidates to get their agenda also passed. And so I have an issue with AIPAC, but
I would treat it like day trading stocks.
Yeah.
Right. You got to treat it like a rattlesnake. And I have zero, that's how we were able to kill the Iranian officials.
Yeah.
Do I feel like they pushed us over the edge there deceitfully? Yeah, I do. I feel like we should have probably done what we did a long time ago and went full hog at it.
Probably.
Right.
So, but the reason why we were able to take out their people is because we had all their traffic cameras bugged. Not us, but Israel. 100% believe that they have everything we have hacked.
Yeah.
Our cameras on our computers, everything else wouldn't surprise me in the least if Israel had all that hacked.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot there. And it goes deeper than just,
I think there's a lot we don't know.
Yes.
Yeah. So
more than anything. But
if you do get elected to Congress, would you come back on and just come back on our podcast and let the people here in North Missouri that voted you in just speak to them about what's going on up there in Washington, D.C.?
Absolutely.
That's one thing we are asking all candidates.
We're asking, we want to keep the voice alive in Washington,
So that's a major problem, is to work for somebody and then not take their call. So I put my phone number on everything. I know at times that may get overloaded. I will call you back. I do a lot of driving. If you're paying somebody to represent you and you can't talk to them, that's a problem. So I'm not just talking about accountability. My number is on my website. It's on everything I have. And you're welcome to call me. That will never change. Another thing that I'm doing is having a public calendar. So if you want to know what lobbyist group I'm meeting with, it's going to be on there. If you're paying my salary and I'm meeting with somebody, shouldn't you know about it?
Yes.
Shouldn't you know what the topic is?
Right.
And if I'm getting money from it? And so all that will be on there. And then yes, I'll be here all the time. I'm over the road every day here. I think I'm the only candidate to be in all 33 counties already.
Wow.
I've got over 30,000 miles I put on in the past 2 months.
Gee whiz.
That's what I do.
Gosh, dang.
Yeah, I'm on the verge of it. Like, okay, is this actually productive? Because I'm going back and forth too much.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't say no.
Yep.
I show up. So
Before we end, I'm going to point somebody toward a podcast where I think they can learn just a lot about you. I think it's a very good podcast. But before we do that, is there anything you want to tell the people here, especially in Lewis County, because Lewis County is going to see this? So
yeah, absolutely. I heard early on, we really like you. We wish an honest guy could get elected, but I don't know how you're going to be able to go up against Washington.
Yeah.
I've got an opponent that's publicizing all of his Washington endorsements, and he himself is a Washington endorsement directly. And I would like the people in rural Missouri to decide who their congressman is going to be.
Yeah.
I don't know if they thought that was possible at first. We've raised almost $500,000 for this campaign so far. And while we need more to be able to combat them, we're going head to head. And we may have raised more than the other candidates because of grassroots people that felt like it was something they could do to contribute. And we're getting the message out there.
Yeah.
So we are gonna mount a fight. We are gonna be able to do it with your help. And Clay County, which I thought would be the worst, that's our most populated county in the district.
Really? Clay County, Kansas City.
Yes.
Yep.
They have about 40% of the population of the district. So it's pretty massive.
Right.
I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but I have the support of the Republican Party in general there. Tremendous support. So I think I'm going to be a favorite there as well, which I did not plan on as well, but yeah.
Awesome. Well, before we let you go, we're going to try and do this here. I want to point everybody to a podcast that you were on.
Perfect.
And they
while
can
you're
learn.
Looking for that, can I say one more thing?
Yep,
Go
keep
ahead.
going.
Donald Trump said in 2015 that you need to send a business person to Washington, not another politician.
Right.
Whenever you're answering to a PAC or to your donors, it's a major problem.
Yep.
So I've got I'm an entrepreneur, which by definition is someone who goes out, finds a problem for somebody, is able to look them in the eye, say, I can fix this problem for you this way for this amount of money. It's not coercive.
Yeah.
And then whenever I screw up, I've got to come back and look you in the eye.
Yes, you do.
I live here, I
Yep.
work here, and that's how I get business.
Yep. Okay, we're going to try to point everybody to this podcast that Nathanael was on. You did a podcast with Patriots with Grit.
Yes.
And I watched that podcast. And I think it does a very good job of explaining who you are. Those guys did a great job interviewing
They're
you.
pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Where are they from?
They're Kearney.
Oh, yeah, Kearney,
Yes, sir.
Missouri.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
So right here on the screen, Patriots with Grit. This is on a Rumble channel. I don't know if you're on YouTube. I don't know if they're on YouTube
They're
or not.
They said during COVID they got shut down on YouTube and are like, forget that.
Gotcha. So you can
I
find
lost
him
a
on
lot of channels
Rumble.
during COVID.
I will drop this link in the comments below. Let's see if we can get back out of here. Hold on, folks.
So have you spent much time out here at the fair so far?
I was here Tuesday,
Yeah.
I think it was. Got to watch the ham competition.
Okay.
There we go.
The honey
Yeah.
competition. And that's kind of new to me. I never did. I showed a lot in 4-H and FFA, but I never did hams.
Right.
Yeah. And I know enough about beehives that I don't care if you're there without a net and everything.
Right,
If
yeah.
I come up, I'm getting stung.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have something covered for sure.
All right. Nathanael Schultz running for Missouri District 6. Get out and vote August 4th. Nathanael, thanks for coming
Thank
on.
you.
Appreciate
Yes,
it.
sir.
Appreciate
Anytime.
it. Yep. Next on will be Greg Sharp.